down to the final round. Super Saturday is just days away, and it's your last chance to lock in your best possible score and dominate your mini leagues before the Six Nations wraps up. A quick intro if you're new here. I'm George, the founder of FantasyRugbyGeek.com. On my website, I bring data-driven insights, strategies and tips to help you fly up your fantasy rugby leagues. If you want more of this content, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you never miss a key update. I'd love to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the Six Nations, so please hit that subscribe button. In this video, I'll review my own round 4 team, break down the biggest fantasy winners and losers from round 4, and most importantly, give you my initial thoughts as to who could go well in round 5, so you can finish the Six Nations strong. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, getting started, let's take a look at how my team got on in round 4. In all, it was a really good week. Good performance from my side came from Blair Kinghorn with 71 points, Ollie Slateholme with 43 points, Duan van der Merwe, solid enough, 28 points, Finn Smith, 30 points. Ben Earl was my captain. In the end, he got 68 points with the captain armband on him. I was saved by that try he got at the end, otherwise it could have been very different. Jack Dempsey, 36 points, Jack Morgan, 39 points, Dan Sheehan, 30 points. And then the icing on the cake was Marcus Smith's super sub performance with 108 points after the super sub multiplier was added. In the end, I ended up on 556 points, which kept me right at the top of most of my leagues, and now I'm 778th worldwide overall. So very happy with how things went in round 4. Now let's take a look at the FRG League to see who's topping the table. A huge congratulations to Runcorn XV, who are now top of the FRG League on 2,061 points. Right behind him is Dougie, who had a massive week, going up 46 spots with 2,049 points. Rob Cashin in 3rd place on 2,047 points. One more step for Man in 4th place on 2,046 points. Big D level with him in 4th equal. Then we've got Thor's Thunders, Evan Evans, Darren McNamara, No Rucks Given and Leathery Bulls. Well done to all of you, but a particular well done to Runcorn XV. Everything to play for moving into round 5. This table could change very quickly. 4 rounds down now, and after a massive weekend of action, only Super Saturday remains before this year's Six Nations champions and the overall fantasy champion is crowned. So for the last time this tournament, let's break down the biggest fantasy stories from round 4 to help you make those crucial final picks for round 5. First up, we have to start with the biggest scorer of the round, Blair Kinghorn, on a huge 71 points. Before this weekend, his stats were already elite. He led the tournament in meters carried. He was right near the top for offloads and defenders beaten, but he just hadn't converted that into tries until now. A 2-try player of the match performance later, and Kinghorn is firmly in the fantasy rugby spotlight. He's now leading the entire Six Nations for meters carried. He's carried for over 200 meters more than his nearest rival, Duan van der Merwe. Absolutely insane numbers. And he's still one of the top offloaders and line breakers in the competition. With France up next, he'll be key to Scotland's attack once again. And speaking of electric attacking threats, Louis BLBRE simply cannot stop scoring. 2 more tries against Ireland, 47 fantasy points, and now he's up to 7 tries for the tournament. That's already a Six Nations record for the most direct try involvements in a single campaign. And he's got 1 more game to set an all-time try-scoring record in one campaign of the Six Nations. If you don't have him in your team for round 5, you might be in serious trouble. Another winger who keeps on delivering is Tommy Freeman. While he hasn't matched BLBRE's try haul, he's now scored in every round so far, one of only a handful of players to ever do that in Six Nations history. England head to Wales next, and again, he's going to be a popular pick. Speaking of Wales, it's been a brutal Six Nations for them with their 16th consecutive defeat. But from a fantasy perspective, their players have been putting in some monster performances, especially in defence, and their tackle count has just been through the roof. For context, 7 of the top 10 highest tacklers in round 4 were all Welsh players. Dathod Jenkins led the way with a ridiculous 28 tackles to gain 42 fantasy points in round 4. Jack Morgan was right behind him with 25 tackles, and Taulupe Faletau combined 19 tackles with a whopping 162 metres carried for 41 points in total in round 4. Wales might not be winning games, but their individual stats have been gold for fantasy managers. And finally, round 4 was a massive week for super sub decisions. If you backed the right player off the bench, you cashed in big. Teddy Williams led the way with a crazy 37 points gained in just 18 minutes. That's 111 points after the super sub multiplier. Marcus Smith delivered a huge 108 super sub score, one of the most popular picks in the game this week as super sub. Jack Conan, another popular decision, also delivered a huge score. Joe Roberts, Oscar Jagu, Matt Fagerson, Julien Marchand all proved to be really solid super sub picks as well. If you nailed your super sub selection in round 4, you're probably sitting pretty in your fantasy league right now. So that was round 4. Plenty of huge performances, some unexpected stars, and as always, a few painful what ifs. But now it's all about round 5. Super Saturday is here, and this is your final chance to maximize your points and climb the leaderboard. So let's take a look at some of the key picks for the final round. Okay, so looking at some of the matches for round 5. We go into round 5 with the Six Nations table and fantasy leagues finally poised for a dramatic finale, with France, England and Ireland all on 3 wins out of 4, albeit with a differing points total. They're all playing separately on Super Saturday, with Ireland away to Italy, England away to Wales and France at home against Scotland. All 3 will be pushing for a bonus point win. Attacking rugby with tries should be the order of the day, all of which bodes very well for fantasy managers looking for big attacking returns. With some notable big price absentees from round 5, courtesy of some very unlucky injuries to Antoine Dupont, Ollie Lawrence and Rory Darge, there could also be some great bargain opportunities to grab in the final round of the fantasy game. Okay, so digging into the matches for round 5 to identify some of the players that I've got my eye on. Kicking off with Italy versus Ireland. The first name I'm looking at is Tommaso Menoncello. He was Italy's joint top performer in round 4 with a try, 2 breakdown steals, 48 metres carried and 4 defenders beaten. He was absolutely everywhere. I think now I've just got about over the pain of round 2 to select him again, and I think many managers will be doing the same. Caelan Doris is also worth looking at. He scored 30 points in round 4. As always, he was a massive carrying threat with 98 metres carried in round 4, and he's due another massive performance. Next up, Dan Sheehan. He's back in the tries, and he had a long shift of 69 minutes on Saturday. He looks to be back to his best and hungry for more tries, so well worth considering for your team. Sam Prendergast, he's the highest scoring fly half in the fantasy game so far. He's likely to get plenty of kicks on Saturday, and he'll definitely have a point to prove against the critics after Ireland's loss in round 4. And then finally, James Lowe, last year's player of the match versus Italy. He caused havoc then, and then in an update from Ireland today, he seems to be making a very good recovery from that back spasm that made him a late withdrawal against France. He's generally had a pretty disappointing Six Nations, but this could be the game to get back onto him as a fantasy prospect. Okay, on to England versus Wales. England with an outside shot at the championship, and Wales pushing hard to avoid a 17th consecutive defeat and a 2nd consecutive Six Nations wooden spoon. From this game, the players I'm looking at, first of all, Jack Morgan. He's just unstoppable. He's averaging 37 points per game and has been the picture of consistency throughout the championship. In round 4, he got 25 tackles and a breakdown steal, and he's just the safest of bets in the back row. Tommy Freeman, he got 43 points in round 4, and he scored a try in every single round so far. He's a class act and likely to be in the thick of the action again in round 5. Tom Willis, he's really starting to show his Premiership form internationally now. He got on the score sheet against Italy, and he could now be the 5th player to score big against Wales from the number 8 position. He's huge value too, but the only issue right now is his minutes. Steve Borthwick rarely seems to keep him on past the 45th minute, so that's something to consider. But the time he's on the pitch, he will make a massive impact. Stafford Jenkins, massive defensive shift from Jenkins against Scotland. He made 28 tackles, absolutely huge. He also got himself a line-out steal, he carried well, and he usually plays the full 80. He's an absolute workhorse. Taulupe Faletau is another one to look at. It was another epic defensive shift from Faletau in round 4 where he made 19 tackles but he also carried for a huge 162 metres. He could really be a brilliant differential pick in the Wales and England game. For the last match of this year's Six Nations, France returned to the Stade de France for the first time since the opening night of the championship. They will, however, be without the injured Antoine Dupont. It's to be confirmed who will replace him, either Maxime Lucu or Nolan Le Grec. If it is Nolan Le Grec, then he'll be coming straight in for me. 7 tries and 15 appearances for Racing this season. He's absolute dynamite and he's great value at 11.5 stars. Then I'm looking at 2 real informed players. First, Louis Bielbury. He can't stop scoring. He's on 7 tries and 1 more will be the championship record. He's an absolute menace and he just can't be stopped right now. The other informed player I'm looking at is the top scorer from round 4, Blair Kinghorn. He may not get as many tries in round 5 as he did in round 4, but you can count on him for metres, defenders beaten and offloads. Next up, Damien Penaud. Again, he showed his danger on Saturday. He lives for tries and he's going to relish such a big occasion at the Stade de France. Finally, Gregory Aldrit. He had a bit of an off day in round 4, but he won't be down for long. Don't forget his massive performances in rounds 1, 2 and 3. He's definitely due another big one. So that's it for now. I'll be back with the round 5 picks and analysis on Thursday night after all teams have been announced. Keep an eye on the FRG socials for updates after each team has been announced and an analysis into the teams. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and switch on notifications so that you can get the round 5 picks delivered straight to you. See you Thursday.